Hello and welcome. Today, we're going to dive into something really transformative in the world of mental health. It's an approach that kind of challenges our basic Western ideas of psychology and offers a whole new vision for well being, specifically in Africa. So, I want to start with a question that gets right to the heart of it all. Is resilience a solo journey? Is it something you build and own all by yourself? For decades, a lot of therapeutic models have pretty much said, yeah, it is. But what if that's only half the story? And that leads us right into our first section, the psychological mismatch. The source material we're looking at today points to this core problem called cultural dissonance. This is what happens when mental health ideas from one culture get dropped into another, and they just don't really click. I love this analogy on the slide. It just captures the issue so perfectly. It's not about saying Western therapy is bad or that African cultures are broken. Not at all. It's just that the key and the lock, well, they might not have been designed for each other, and that can really limit how effective the therapy can be. So, where does this mismatch actually come from? This slide lays out the root cause brilliantly. On one side, you've got the Western idea of the autonomous self, this notion that you're a self-contained individual defined by what's going on inside your own head, your own thoughts and feelings. But on the other side, in many African contexts, the view is of a collective self. Your identity is fundamentally defined by your relationships to your family, your community, your ancestors. It's a whole different starting point. Okay, so if the standard key doesn't fit the lock, what's the alternative? This brings us to a new framework, one that's been built from the ground up to actually match the culture and look at well-being in a much more connected way. It's called Holistic Resilience Theory, or HRT. Now, the key thing to get here is that it doesn't see resilience as just some mental trait you have. No, it's a dynamic thing that weaves everything together. Your body, your mind, your social life, even your environment. It's all one big interconnected system. And what's really powerful about this theory is its foundation. It believes that every single person has an built-in resilience potential. It's already there. So the goal of therapy isn't to build something from scratch. It's to activate and nurture the potential that's already there, using the world around you to do it. All right, so building on that idea, let's see how it changes the way we think about healing. If the self is collective, well, then healing has to be collective too. This section really gets into the deep philosophical shift at the heart of HRT. This amazing principle of Ubuntu, I am because we are, is so much more than a nice saying. In this context, it's a clinical tool. It completely reframes what therapy is trying to do. The focus shifts from fixing a problem inside of a person to restoring harmony in their world. And you can see how this plays out in really practical ways. Psychological distress isn't just seen as, say, a chemical imbalance. It's seen as a breakdown in relationships, a disharmony in the community. So healing means actively reconnecting with family, with the community, even with ancestors. A therapist isn't just looking at your internal symptoms, they're assessing the health of your social world. And that collective validation is huge for fighting the shame and isolation that so often come with mental distress. Okay, so we get the philosophy, but how does it actually work? We're moving from the why to the how now. And this is where a really fascinating idea comes in, one that sees recovery as a kind of movement. The concept is called resilience mobility, and you can think of it as the exact opposite of being stuck. It's the active, real-world ability to move forward and deal with challenges, not as some lone hero, but with the full backing of your community. It's about getting back the tangible ability to act in your own life. So the first type of mobility just throws out that strict separation of mind and body that's so common in the West. Here, the body isn't just carrying the mind around, it's a primary tool for healing. And this is where the theory gets incredibly real. Embodied mobility uses things like community rituals, drumming, and dance to process trauma without ever having to say a word about it. Just imagine a village gathering where that shared rhythmic movement helps regulate a whole community's nervous system after something terrible has happened. And on a simpler level, it's about helping a person just be able to move through their world again, to get to work, to see friends, to get what they need. That physical action is a direct sign of psychological health. The second type of mobility connects our mental well-being directly to tangible, real-world progress. It's about creating hope, not just by talking, but by doing. In places where life is tough, you can't separate mental health from basic security. So this approach links therapy directly to practical skills, like job training or finding stable work. And this isn't just about practicality, it's a powerful psychological move. Gaining a livelihood gives people a sense of control over their future, which directly fights despair and lets them rewrite their own story from one of passive suffering to one of active agency. So let's pull all of this together. By combining the philosophy of the collective self with the hands-on idea of resilience in motion, this theory gives us a clear, actionable roadmap for both therapists and the people they're helping. And that roadmap really follows 3 key steps. First, you assess a person's whole relational world, their family, their community, to find and mobilize those strengths. Second, you use embodied, physical interventions to work through trauma. And third, you set functional goals that give a person back their sense of agency in the real world. It's a truly complete path to healing. And all of this brings us to one final thought. The model we just went through was designed for African contexts, but wow, does it raise a much bigger question? After seeing just how powerful a culturally grounded approach can be, you have to ask, should all therapy be tailored to its culture? It's definitely something to think about.